Chris Alamo, my brother, thanks for coming on, man. You're, let's get fucking through this. We've been setting up forever. I'm not trying to spend all day recording a podcast.
Are you sweating?
Yeah, I'm fucking
Holy
sweating.
shit!
Ring light and setting up everything, man.
That
God
shit
damn
feels
it,
good,
dude.
dude. Wow, dude, you're right.
Yeah, I'm fucking sweating bullets, bro. Fuck, man, it stresses me out, man. But we're supposed to be just chilling. We were working on with the arm thing. That didn't work. And now I wanted to bring you on because you're getting into acting. Everybody, people come on the show, Broadway people, all kinds of artists come on. And I tell them that you're a great actor because I've seen you, when you were doing downtown in the workshop, Shakespeare, Harper. You're such a visceral actor, like so natural. And now since September, you really have gotten back into it. I mean, what really got you in? What made you want to get back into acting?
I think what made me want to get back into it is that I'm passionate about it. First of all, man, I really love it. I really enjoy it. It's one of those passions where I look at everybody else and I'm like, man, why wouldn't you want to do this? It's amazing. Just the fact that you can go and transform a character and really grow and understand and learn and it's amazing to me. I love people watching, bro. Ever since I was a kid, I love people watching, and I'm like, as I became an adult, it's the same thing, man. I go to Walmart, I go to Target, I go wherever, and I'm just watching people. I'm so fascinated by people and the way they interact and the way they move and they talk and it just carried on into this passion of mine, acting, man, and I love it. I really enjoy it. I really like putting the work in and finding different things about the character. I love testing myself, testing my limits, understanding myself. I'm addicted to it. So it's always been an addiction. It's always been something that I needed in my life. So this past couple months, I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. That's all you got to do. Just do it. Just stop fucking making excuses, right?
Yeah.
And just do it. So now I'm doing it. I'm doing the acting classes. I'm going to auditions. I'm reading material. I'm reading plays. I'm just trying to surround myself with it, man, really.
It's crazy how, we started off, I remember we used to do those skits, obviously. We talked about this so many times. We do these skits. Yeah, I was in first grade. You were in kindergarten. And we would do these skits for mom. They're usually about, morals, they had a moral to the story. Don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Don't fucking buy a prostitute or whatever.
Yep.
And it was funny that usually I would come up with the outline of the skit, but you were all about you would perform the shit out of it, right? Like I wasn't really good at performing, and you always wanted to I'd just play myself, usually a dweeb, and you'd play a fucking ganguero or a drug addict, which for a kindergartner you have to really display some acting chops, and it's crazy that it's come full circle that it must have been back in the day that you were just always watching, because we grew up in a rough ass area, so you must have been seeing the fucking gangueros. And because imagine you weren't, you were watching Sesame Street, you weren't. Where'd you learn how to act like a ganguero? Where'd you learn how to act like a drug addict? Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
People watching, man. Yeah, people watching. And there's certain things that you pick up on and you don't even know that you pick up on, right? Mm-hmm. There's certain things and I think it's more of the reason you pick up on certain things is behavior. It's more for safety, I think. Initially, I think, because you want to make sure, okay, well, I have to know how this person reacts just to see their natural reaction so that I know that I'm safe in this environment. Yeah. That's what it is. I mean, because, right, the human body, the mind, the way it works, it doesn't give a fuck about, oh, you want to be an actor. It's basic things, right? Just understanding how other people interact, right? For safety, for different reasons, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good. You're learning, you're growing up in a dangerous environment, and so you're trying to okay, you have to keep tabs on everybody in the room, read everybody, interpret what they're feeling based on how they're acting, right? Yeah. And me and you growing up the way we grew up, man, we were constantly observing people because of that, bro. We were always watching people. I knew how this person moved. I knew how they stepped. I knew, I got an understanding of this person so that if anything happened, I know where to go. I know how to move. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I think that's important. I think some people it develops more than others, I think. Yeah. Depending on their environment. But then in high school, you know, because it's not like you were like I think you did Frosty the Snowman or something, right? In elementary school.
No. Yeah. Okay. Well, elementary school, I had the same teacher you had, Miss Margolis. Remember, for 5th grade. So one of our assignments was, hey, you have to memorize a poem from Where the Sidewalk Ends. Who's that author?
Shel Silverstein.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was gonna say Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss. No,
left foot, right foot.
But yeah, so we had to memorize a poem. So you know how I would always get to school really early, and I would play basketball, right? Mm-hmm. So I get to school really early. I'm playing basketball. One of my best friends, Mohammed, he's like, "Hey, did you memorize the play?" And I'm like, "What play?" He's like, "Yeah, we had to memorize." So I'm like, "Fuck!" So I got on my bike, I hauled ass back home. I remember looking through the book real quick. I found a poem that I'm like, all right, this is pretty decent. I ripped it out, and I remember riding back to school. And as I'm riding back to school, I'm reading this play, and I get there, and by the time I got there, it was about the time the bell rang. Okay, and so you good?
Yeah, I'm just checking. I've got to check all the fucking technology, so I'm listening and checking everything.
Motherfucker, like you got somewhere to go and shit.
No, I'm checking, dude. Okay. See, if I had my own producer, I could just sit here and relax. But I got to make sure everything.
Got you. Okay. So anyways, so I get there, right, and I remember Miss Margolis. She's like, "All right, who wants to go first?" And I'm like, I got to go first because it's fresh in my mind. I just memorized it, and it was a poem. I can't fucking find it. I've been trying to find it. If you can find it, bro. How does it go? It goes. It starts off. I'm tired of being little. I'm tired of being thin. I wish I was giant size with whiskers on my chin. I can't find it. That? I can't find it. I cannot find
somebody who's a Shel Silverstein fucking fan.
I hope so, please. But anyways, so I get there, right, and I remember the teacher said you have to use one prop, and you have to memorize the poem. That was part of the thing. So I got there, and I was like, what am I going to use? Okay, well, I'll just use something basic. I remember using a chair, and I started off. I'm tired of being little. I'm tired of being thin. I wish I was giant size. And I remember stepping on the chair. And then after that day, it wasn't an amazing performance. I was in 5th grade. That's the first time I've ever really performed anything. But 2 things I remember from that day. 2 things. One is the way it made me feel being up there performing. And 2, the way the teacher looked at me and said, wow, that was amazing. After I was done, she made me do it again in front of Mr. Crocker. Because she said it was such an amazing job. And I'm thinking to myself, if this lady only knew I just memorized it right now, I didn't put any effort into it. So that really, yeah, exactly, really, so that said to me,
that tells you, like, man, if I would have if I would have just tried, I would have blown everybody out of the fucking water. Like I'm blowing people out of the water, and I'm not even trying.
Yeah, but what are you gonna tell? You're not gonna tell your teacher that, right?
I didn't even try.
Yeah, I didn't even try, bitch. No, but seriously, so that really, that feeling, that feeling, it was like no other feeling I've ever experienced, just doing that and reciting that poem, and it felt different. It felt, I can't even describe it really, man. It felt right though. It felt right. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, when you do something and it feels right, do you understand what I mean? Like you just do something, you're like, oh, I get it. I feel okay. It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's how with me with writing, but it's not performative, Like, so I can't even understand what. You're performing something in front of people, and you get this feeling like this is right. Like I've never had that. That's why I'm afraid of performing in front of people, right? That's what most of us are. But yeah, I could see like, I turned in an essay in 6th grade or something, and I liked writing. I always liked writing, but like I wasn't like fucking crazy about it. But if my teacher was, when my teacher was like, oh yeah, this is a great thing, you're like, oh wow, I kind of didn't really try, right? And people are saying, "Oh, it's really good," and then so it kind of like, and this is a common theme in the show. Like, parents, teachers, usually, if they encourage you at the right age, say, "Hey, go down this road. Like, you're really good at this road." Like that changes your whole trajectory because you then start where you weren't trying. Now you're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna like." And once you start trying at something, then you start to actually like it in a way. I mean, it's not even like, do whatever you love, do something that you're good at. And then eventually, sometimes eventually you start to love it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't know what they love. They don't know, like we were talking about Karina being 17, or like you were talking about, my nieces, like, trying to steer them in the right direction, and maybe they don't know what they like yet or whatever, like, because they haven't really dedicated themselves to something, you know what I mean? But once you start working at something, then it's kind of like you have sweat equity in it, right? You're invested in it, and so you love it even more, right?
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to put it. I like that. But it's so hard when they're so young, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't just tell them, hey, look, this is you try to present it to them in a way that they may like it. Like, oh, man, for example, Camila, right? My 7-year-old daughter, when she started soccer, the reason she started it is because I love soccer, right? And I said, oh, yeah, you should play it. And she wasn't thrilled by it, but she was thrilled from the fact that she understood how excited I was by it, right?
Right.
She was the only girl on the team that scored her own goal, right? And
you were just saying how you asked her what's this different thing she wants to be when she grows up, and one of the things she added, like, just off the cuff, was like, oh, an actor too. Yeah, I like being an actor, because she knows you like acting.
And the way she said it too was like, she went like this. Oh yeah, let's see, a dancer. Let's see, an actor. She looked at me like for approval, like. And I'm like, Mama, you could be anything you want to be.
Yeah.
You don't have to. That's cute, and I appreciate it, but really, be anything you want to be. It sounds crazy, right? We say that, but that's what I want. I tell her. I want her to realize and understand that you can be anything you want to be. Don't let me tell you can't do that. Don't let anybody tell you, right?
But people and we're watching this in the show called Couples Therapy, where you grow up to want to fulfill your parents' dreams, whatever your parents were working towards. If they couldn't make it, if they couldn't succeed, they never actually did it. You subconsciously you just go, okay, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to succeed where they couldn't, but I'm going to do it for them. You know what I mean? You don't say all that stuff in your head, but like subconsciously, our parents give us a mission in life, and so like, say, that's why she's saying, like, I'll do acting too. Like I'll chase what you were chasing.
Yeah. Wow. That's
crazy.
That's crazy.
That they feel that obligation. You know what I mean? They feel that I don't know, like they're honoring you by doing the thing that you loved. You know what I mean? But then in high school, I was already at DePaul, and you got the lead part in this play, Bang Bang You're Dead. I didn't even know you were into drama and stuff like that. What made you do that, dude? Like out of nowhere. You did it out of nowhere.
I did it out of nowhere.
You didn't tell anybody.
I didn't tell anybody, and I think it's easier when I do things out of nowhere. I don't tell anybody, because if I don't get the part, or if if I face the rejection, then it's easier. I don't have to.
That's good.
I don't have to explain. Like, I could explain to myself, well, I didn't get it. Okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's harder to explain to somebody else, hey, I didn't get it because I don't know, I just wasn't right for the part or whatever. It's harder, right?
Yeah.
To yourself, you're like, whatever, fuck you.
Yeah.
But the reason I did
no, you could you take it alone, right? Whatever you failed, you took the L, but nobody knows it.
Nobody knows, so it's like.
But it's worse to be like, I'm going out for this play, and you tell everybody, we fucking post flyers around the neighborhood, and then you don't get it. You're like, oh, what happened with that play?
I remember I actually told Jenny Mito. I told her, I was like, yeah, I got the lead in this play, and she laughed. She's like, yeah, no, you didn't. You didn't even go for it. I'm like, seriously, go look.
Right.
And it was posted on the little board, She's like, what the hell? And it was just like, yeah, I wanted to do it. I want, something I've always been passionate about.
So would you when you did that, right? Like in high school, everybody has their cliques. You weren't in the drama clique.
No,
so you go in there and it's the drama clique. Yeah. What were you thinking?
I don't know. Everybody was looking at me like, well, what the hell is this guy doing here? What's going on? And then I was like, well, this is what I want to do. So I just auditioned for it, and it was remember Erin Diamond? Yeah.
Erin Diamond was this. Yeah. She was the show. She was aiming for Broadway. Like she's the one kid that every school has that they're going to go for Broadway.
And so
singing, dancing.
I just auditioned, and she said, all right, great job. We'll post them, and we'll let you know exactly who got what spot. And then I didn't think I was going to get it. Anytime I do something, I never think I'm going to get it, but it was nice, and people were like, what the hell? And, they saw a different side of me from that.
My only regret is I didn't get to see that, man, because I remember there was a parents' night, and there was a school. You only did it twice? They only did it twice, right?
Yeah, they only did it. It was.
Isn't that weird? How long do you have to audition practice for a school play? I mean, how many practices are there? That it does it twice. One for the school, one for the...
I think it must have been like 2-3 weeks, something like that.
What was the hardest part about that? I mean, this is your first time in a school play.
Oh, you know what? The first time ever. Yeah. So I think the blocking was the most difficult part. You know, knowing exactly where to stand, where to walk, how to move while you're saying these certain lines, because sometimes it doesn't feel natural. You know, I feel like
you were just telling me about that right now when you were filming you were filming a movie and you were in a really big scene and they were like, cut. Yeah, you're standing in the wrong spot. You missed your mark.
It's hard. It's hard because especially if you're really involved with it, involved with your character, involved in the scene, and there's a dynamic, you know, and there's a lot going into it. It's not just words on a paper, you know. There's a lot that's going into it. There's a lot of character study. There's a lot of different emotions and feelings that are being invested in this scene, and it's huge, especially when you're just feeling it. You're just feeling it. This is, you know, and for that director to be like, "Hey, cut! You're not in the spot." It kind of threw me off because I was like, "What the fuck, man?" You know?
Yeah.
Because I was really feeling it. I'm not. It doesn't. It's hard. It's hard to really get in that groove for me. I mean, I'm you know, I don't have that much experience, and that's what I'm learning. When I have to get to a certain spot, it takes some time. I have to dedicate some time and some focus to it, man. It doesn't just turn on, bro.
Yeah, I told you, like, doing the TikTok stuff it's not acting, but it's like you have to think of lines and you have to repeat them or whatever. There's certain things I want to say, right? Man, have you seen how all it takes that I do to do a single TikTok? It's crazy, you know. And I'm a writer, right? But like writing and delivering lines are completely different things. Like, you know, I write so other people can read. Like, I don't write to perform it, and like. It's so hard. It's really hard to know what you're gonna say, but say it the right way, right tone. Your face not doing anything weird. You know, sometimes like it's almost impossible to say the same line over and over again, exactly the same. Like this podcast, I start with kind of the same intro, but it takes me a few takes to just do the intro, and I've been doing this will be episode 103, and I still mess up the intro, right? I still mess up what I'm supposed to say because it's like I don't know what that is. I'm not as aware. I think if you're a performer, you're really aware of like your face and your voice, and I think we're still very internal. Which makes you a great actor, you know. Because we talked about that too, about how there's a lot of actors who they're really good at the external, but they don't know how to like convey an emotion, right? It's like. I mean, what's some kind of the things you've seen? Talk to people about how you got into. Well, we're jumping around because you know you're my brother, so I know you, right? Yeah, I know the story. So you do high school play, Bang Bang You're Dead. Then how long into you're doing the Shakespeare thing? I can't remember.
Well, yeah, the Shakespeare thing I
was years later, right?
After the Marines.
After the Marines.
Yeah, so that was even more interesting.
But you were doing some stuff before the Marines, right? Those were the workshops?
Those were the workshops. I was doing a couple of workshops in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. And then so you go to the Marines and you come back, and then you're doing they give you the GI Bill, right? So then you go to Harper.
Yeah.
And so they have a drama club there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the guy is the director of the Chicago Shakespeare Theater, right? Mm-hmm. And he's doing, what was the first play?
I did several different plays. Some of them, one of them what was it? I can't even think. The One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh yeah, I remember.
We did that one. We did Bus Stop by William Inge, and then.
But then you did.
I did another one too. Oh, the one with.
What was Orlando? Was that your name?
Yeah. You're saying the Shakespeare play?
Yeah.
As You Like It. Yeah. Then we did that, and then that was interesting because here I want to paint this picture for you, man. Right. So at this point, I'm really into working out, right? So I have like this workout physique, right?
Yeah, you were fucking swole.
Marine.
You're swole now, but you were like
I was jacked and shit. So I'm a Marine who just got out, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to try out for this play. And so the drama kids there are looking at me like, who the fuck is this? I even heard a kid, when I got the lead role for Orlando, I heard a kid said, who got the role for Orlando? He says, I don't know, some meathead. Some meathead. I don't know. I've never seen him. And I'm right here, like I'm sitting down and he's up front. And I'm like, this motherfucker, you know? And that was interesting, man, because not a lot of people, they look at you and they judge you right away, right? By what you look like. And they're like, dude, this guy doesn't know shit about Shakespeare. And I sat down with Kevin. Kevin was the guy who produced it, you know? And he taught me everything, man. He taught me everything about Shakespeare, about the technique, about how to approach it, how to read it, the literature, and how to really understand it. That was the most important part of everything. How to understand it is because it's intimidating, right? People look at Shakespeare.
I mean, I still don't understand it. I remember you were telling me like you would dissect lines for me, and I'm like, you know, how you just the way to say it, just the way. I mean, just explain that, like the way you say a line. The stresses mean certain things. Yeah.
There's certain, you know, you take a line and there's a certain spot where you're supposed to emphasize a certain part of it, and the breath and everything comes into play. It's been a while since I've done Shakespeare, but it's the
and what is it?
Iambic pentameter.
Yeah, iambic pentameter.
There you go. Yeah, and so it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work, and
it's. I mean, the other thing about Shakespeare is that the lines are not natural. It's not like something you would say. It's not like you're saying a fucking line from Goodfellas or something. Yeah. Like it's very natural just to even learn how to speak that way. Generally, right?
Yeah. Especially, let's break it down, man. Let's be honest. Let's be serious, right? Especially from a kid like me from the fucking ghetto.
Yeah.
Who, you know, the Shakespeare is huge. Shakespeare, come on, man. All right, we make fun of kids who do that shit. What the fuck? This
we grew up speaking of fucking ebonics and
right?
shit.
This motherfucker's reading Shakespeare. What the fuck?
Iambic pentameter.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, I have to be. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the fact that I took that challenge, man. Mm-hmm. I could have been like, man, fuck that. I could have made any excuse in the world and been like, fuck that. That's too difficult. I'm not gonna be able to get it right.
Yeah,
easily. But I said, you know what? Fuck that. And it's funny because you know, after you get out of the Marine Corps, and Adam Driver talks about it all the time. You know Adam Driver, right?
Yeah.
He talks about it all the time, and he says that
he was a Marine, right?
He was a Marine. He got out and he went to Juilliard and he studied there, and he's an actor in Hollywood now. But he always talks about when you get out of the Marine Corps, you have this mentality like, I can fucking do anything. I just got out of the Marine Corps. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Nothing's impossible. Right? And it's true. It really is true. Like, holy shit, you're in the shit, and you're doing shit that you can't even have a conversation and explain to somebody what you're doing, because they'll be like, what the fuck? That's crazy.
You come home and somebody complains, that sounds like hell, but last week at Tuesday I missed my train.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I came back and I had that mentality. You know, I still do it. I feel like it starts to wear a little bit. You know, it wear away a little bit. You know?
Yeah, you get reaccustomed to civilian life, man.
But when I first got out, I'm like, I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. And I had this. Remember, I would look at you guys, man, fucking lazy ass civilians. Remember, I would do that. I remember that. I would do that. But now, dude, so I said, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, and I did it, and actually I did it. I felt like I did a good job. It was my first real production, you know, like as far as Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting an award. I didn't go to the ceremony, but Kevin, the director, he told me, hey man, make sure you go there. I never showed up, and then they paid for a semester of I won best. What was it, like best new? What is it, like? Up and coming actor or something for it. You know, they gave me, so they paid for my semester at Harper, which is nice.
I mean, so now that you're doing what, stage, more common, I mean, you just did the Glass Menagerie, stuff like that. Do you find that like you starting out with Shakespeare is kind of like how you know how like some musicians were classically trained, but then they don't use, you know, like Elton John was classically trained on the piano or something like that. Or Freddie Mercury was trained as, you know, an opera or whatever, but you don't use it. But do you find that it's like a benefit now that you are Shakespearean thespian?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question, man. I feel like it's any art form, right? There's always a basic necessity, right, that you have to understand and learn first, right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like everybody does it, right? Like you have to pay homage to do this first, and then if you want to become something great, once you understand this will open up your mind to other things. I feel like that's what it is. Shakespeare allowed me to understand more about myself, yeah, about how I have, the energy I have to give into a certain scene, the ability to understand and be able to research. That's huge, bro. That's huge. That's everything. When you understand, and that was all Shakespeare, researching. What the fuck does this mean? What does he say by this? Put it in my own terms. Write it down. Write out a whole paragraph of what he's trying to say, so I fully understand what I'm saying. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you're talking, we all know people who talk and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
And it comes across. You know right away this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's saying. Right? That's
like
how it is.
People anchors on TV and shit.
That's
politicians.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how it is. I feel with acting. You have to know what you're talking about. You have to. That's the basic thing. Know what the fuck you're talking about. And if you don't know, research.
Yeah. Write
it in your own words. That's what helps me. I'll write a paragraph in my own words of what I'm trying to. Why am I speaking these words? What.
It's like a podcast. Like people would always say, "Oh, you're so well researched for the host." If a guest comes on, I'm gonna read. If it's about a book, I'm gonna read the book, right? If I'm gonna research the shit out of them, right? Yeah. And people always say, "Oh, you've done." I'm talking to the guest, and they say, "Oh, you've done your research." For me, it's like, of course I did. Like, how am I gonna bring you on the show and not know anything about you, right? And not only that, not know as much as I can about you, right? Because then, like you're saying, like if my job as a podcast host is I'm supposed to come up with words, I'm supposed to come up with sentences to say. Like if I don't know anything about the guest, then that's gonna make my fucking job super hard, right? Because like then I'm gonna be struggling for words. Two, like you said, the audience is gonna know, oh, this motherfucker doesn't know shit about this motherfucker he has on, right? Like he doesn't even care. And if I don't care and if I don't know, then why should they? And that's the same with acting, right? Yeah. Like everything about this character, even stuff that doesn't come up in the play, right? You just know them.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like.
What do you think about like as a Latino actor? We got to go there, right?
Yeah.
That Shakespeare, you love Shakespeare, but people would say he's a dead white guy, right? Like, what do you as a Latino? What can you relate to in Shakespeare? I mean, what do you say about that?
I would say being a Latino and understanding and reading Shakespeare and having performed a Shakespearean play, what would I say to other Latinos or just in general?
Just in general.
In general?
But I mean, if you wanted to, whatever you, but like, they're saying they're making Latino kids read Shakespeare in this is what some people are saying, right? They're making Latino kids read Shakespeare in school. You don't have to read Shakespeare if you're a brown kid or a black kid because it's irrelevant to you. Shakespeare was a white guy. He lived 500 years ago. It's irrelevant to a Latino or black person. I mean, what do you say about that?
I say that's absolutely wrong. I think it's definitely relevant. I think the thing is, in my opinion, I know some courses, right? They're gonna introduce Shakespeare as like a narrative, right? Like literature, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to read it as literature. That's my opinion. You have to read it as a play. That's when you get the most full effect on it, right? As a play, because that's what it is, right?
Yeah. It's so true. Like just reading, I remember taking the Shakespeare class. We had the same. What was his name? Mr. X.
Yeah.
And this cool ass black dude he lived in Kenosha, but he was Mr. Xavier become Mr. X. He taught British lit.
He looked like Don Cheadle.
He looked like Don Cheadle. Walked like fucking Superfly. But like sitting there and if you're not an actor, reading a play, enter, the garden scene, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You're like, this is reading's hard enough. Reading stage direction while you're reading is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
So you have to see it, right? So you're saying, do you think people should just not read the plays? Do you think somebody should watch it, just go see it live? Yeah, right.
Absolutely,
right?
Bro. Absolutely.
Just asking it, I was like, that's a stupid question.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's not a stupid question. I think it's like it's people are gonna be. Here's the thing, right? Because you have this preconceived notion of what you think Shakespeare is, and when you don't know what it is, right? You're new to it. You're like, oh shit, this is like it's far beyond my level. It's like for someone who's just way too intellectual, and I can't even comprehend what they're saying. No, but the thing is, Shakespeare, once you understand what he's talking about, you're like, oh fuck, I get it. Yes, definitely. He's presenting his plays not only to the drunks in front, but the higher class as well. You know how difficult that is to be able to make both of these groups of people, right, understand and really involved in your play, right?
Yeah.
That's fucking hard as hell, right?
Yeah.
That's super hard, and he can do it. And once I figured that out, and I'm like, dude, this guy's all he's talking about is sex, drinking, drugs, and
right.
And you're like, dude, this guy, this is fucking badass, man.
And I think, I'll say my 2 cents about that is like, I think if Latino kids just grow up reading Latino books, black kids grow up reading black books, white kids grow up, that's not going to solve shit about racism, multiculturalism, tolerance, right? Like you have to be able to read Shakespeare as a black or brown person and see like, oh, this is a human story, right? And if you just see white people in Shakespeare, then racism's fucked you up, man, right? Like if you are reading Shakespeare and all you see is white people, like you're missing the beauty in it, right? Like, and not, it's sad that we don't have a Latino Shakespeare. We could have, right? Or maybe we do, right? Or black Shakespeare, right? But that doesn't take away the achievement that Shakespeare did, right? It just doesn't. I mean, the themes of it, right? And as an actor though, like, so if you're classically trained in Shakespeare, I mean, how does that translate? I mean, I guess you're like you said, you're practicing voice and stress and reading lines and dissecting a script. Because if you can dissect a Shakespearean script, then what's fucking something else, right?
That's how I see it. Yeah, if you can dissect one of those scripts, then you're literally taking words that at first you may not know what they mean at all.
Yeah.
And you're taking them and finding full understanding of them. Yeah. Oh, now I know how to portray this. Now I know exactly what I'm saying, right? And that's what you're doing essentially in a script, right?
Yeah.
Even if you know what the words mean, how do they affect you? Why are you speaking them? How are you affecting somebody else by speaking these words? You're just dissecting everything, man. And here's the thing, bro. I'm learning so much, right? I'm learning. I'll never know. I'll never be at a point where I'm like, I know it all. Because then if I do, then you can fucking punch me in the dick. Because I really, there's people like that they know it all. But no, I'm excited about this, bro. And I'm learning and I'm researching and understanding and I'm following people who are great at what they do, right? Great actors who have great advice. Right?
Yeah.
Why would you follow some bad advice from a bad actor, right?
Yeah.
Look at somebody you want to be like, and look at what they're doing, their steps. And
do you remember like being a kid? What was the first, or even now, like a movie? Who's your favorite actor? Do you remember who your favorite actor is as a kid was? Who's your favorite actor now?
I think honestly, Leo, man.
Leo's good, right?
Leo's amazing.
I mean, he went from being just a pretty boy like Titanic, right? He could have been the next fucking Jonathan Taylor Thomas, whatever the fuck was his name. Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah. That's
JTT.
Right, yeah.
And but then he became a real actor. Like, what do you think his best movie is?
I think one of the roles that really defined him and took him to the next level was What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because at that point he could have done something else. He had somebody offered him something from like a huge Disney movie. And he's like, no, I really need to do this movie, and he did it. And he people were like, after they watched the film, they're like, wow,
Yeah.
He plays a boy who's like handicapped, who has some issues, and he does it. His role is so believable, bro.
What's a movie that you've seen that you think, oh, that's a perfect kind of role for me?
Wow, I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
Like as a writer, sometimes I'm reading a book and I'm like, oh, I could have written this.
Oh, really?
It'd have been my own thing.
How
right?
long did it take you to think that though?
Oh yeah, it took a long time.
Right?
It took a long time. Or somebody who's doing something that you're like, oh, I want to get to that. I want to get to that kind. I mean, as an actor, when you're watching a performance, what do you notice about an actor? What should we, the layperson, be noticing?
I think great acting begins with subtleties, man. Like you don't have to, you don't have to stand there and point to something or have these huge crazy expressions, but if you have some subtleties,
yeah,
and you're still able to convey a certain feeling or emotion or whatever's going on in the scene, and somebody can watch you do that and be affected, or sometimes you even feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That uncomfortable feeling when somebody's doing a scene that's very emotional, right? Or they're angry or something, and it makes you uneasy, and you don't know why. Because you're looking at somebody who's at that point, they're vulnerable. Because you're thinking to yourself, wow, I know he's an actor, but he's so vulnerable right now, and I'm watching him.
And it's so interesting you said that, because like I remember, I can't even remember what the bus stop was really about, but I remember, and I can't even remember really what the play was about, your character, but I remember the emotions that you were expressing. And as your brother, I think maybe when you are so closely related to the actor, the well of emotions that they're drawing from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you don't know the actor and they're doing this crazy scene, emotional scene, you're like, wow, it's just like, where does that come from?
Yes.
But like, I think that if I remember, there's a scene in Bus Stop where, well, your character's like what, like an alcoholic or something, he's violent, right? He's temper.
Yeah, he's temperamental. Yeah, he's got a temper, and he's kind of into himself, very self-absorbed.
And then there's a scene where you kind of blow up, right?
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, it's funny being your brother, because like I know what a blow up looks like. We know what blow ups look like from our parents and from whatever. So like it was kind of real close, to the fucking dick, where you're portraying these emotions, and I know in a way I know what I couldn't do what you're doing, right? But I know what you're drawing on. I know what you kind of have, like I know where it's coming from, and that's kind of how do you separate? How do you not get lost in those feelings? Like when you go, because especially when you have, the kind of childhood we didn't have a terrible childhood, right? We had a pretty good childhood in a way, right? But you're drawing from some fucking soft points, some stuff that never really got worked out, and you're drawing from these feelings. Like, for me as a writer, I think that's what makes you a writer. I live in that, for days, for weeks, and that's where I draw from. But then you can get fucking, it's bad for your mental health, man. You got to pull out of there.
You know what? I would have to say that so say I'm doing a scene where the person is very upset, and he's showing that he's really really upset, and he's on the verge of tears, and he's just really hurt and upset, right? I'm not going to go ahead and dig from something personally in my life. I don't. Some people do that, but I just don't do that. I'm going to understand. I'm going to think as if I was a character, right? I'm going to think if I was in that situation, exactly how I would feel. He's hurt because his girlfriend left him, and he's got $2 in his account, and his landlord said he has one more day left. I'm going to really see myself in that situation.
But
and this is the reason why I'm going to do it, right? Because if I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about being a kid, being poor, and not, right? there's definitely going to be an emotion that's going to be portrayed, right?
Yeah.
But it's not going to be the exact emotion. And that, I feel, is what can distinguish somebody from being good, from a good actor to a great actor. Because his internal, dialogue and his feeling is all matched with exactly what's happening in the scene. There's nothing that's lost.
Wow.
That's just me personally.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning, and that's what's working
No,
for
I mean,
me.
I'm sure there's different ways of doing it, right? Like you either embody it. I mean, what's method? I mean, I remember is method Stanislavski, is that all the same thing?
Oh man, I'm still learning myself, man. I don't really know the full.
What's your approach? What's your approach to conveying an emotion?
What's my approach to it?
Yeah.
I just some emotions are easily portrayed, right?
Yeah.
There's some that take some work, right? And
What one that's take some work?
Me being happy, doing a role where I'm excited, I'm extremely happy, and it's harder for me. It's a lot harder for me because I have to really put myself in there and really uplift myself. Not that I'm saying I'm depressed, mad, angry person. No,
but I think the Marines, right? The Marines kind of makes you where you're kind of hard faced. No,
yeah. I got a mean resting bitch face.
Yeah.
I really do.
I think most people who come out of the military do, especially Marines, right?
Yeah.
You're not encouraged to be like super happy and giddy in the Marines.
Shit. Yeah. You're right. You can't be smiling and shit. But so I don't know. So for me personally, like if I have to do a scene that's like more angry or there's sadness involved and stuff like that, then it's how well I know what's going on in the scene, how well I know exactly what the character's feeling, right? Understand it. This is what I do. I'll write. It's all about the character, the roadmap, the character. Really, like, so if I take a monologue, if I'm an audition, I'm using a monologue, right? And this character's really upset for whatever reason, right? Obviously, you got to read the play, right? You got to read the entire play, and then you have to read the entire play again, right? So the first time you read it with, you just read it for what it is. Don't think about yourself as the character. Just read it for what it is. Second time you read it as with you in mind. Oh, this is my character that I'm portraying, right? Third time you read it, you get something else from it. You know what I'm talking about. Anytime you read something,
funny, like I always watch rewatch movies, TV shows, right?
Yeah,
I do too. Rosil's not the kind of person, and there's some people who aren't, right? Like, but it's like, yeah, you have to like. You can watch something 10 times. The 10th time is gonna be like, oh, I never caught that. Oh, wow! Like it changes the whole fucking thing. Like it's so important. And they say that about books. Like you read a book, you got to reread it. Like the first time you read a book is not reading a book. It's like you're kind of discovering it. But once you do 2-3 times, then you're like you seeing all the little subtleties again, which are so important. Like you read something or you watch something and it impresses you. It's amazing, but you don't even know why, really. You just know that it's impressive, and you have to kind of go back over and over again and be like, okay, yeah, it's all these little things that add up to this great one. Just becomes a single piece, right?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, then you just keep reading it. You write down a lot of things about the character. Hey, what does the author say about the character, right?
Yeah.
What do other characters in there say about me? What do I say about me? You write all this stuff down, right? You write an autobiography of the character. You start it whenever you want to start it. And I want to start at 5 years old, and I start from there. And I write pages, 12, 15 pages, right? And you just keep writing, and it gives you a really great understanding of who this person is. Because once you really understand your character, here's the thing right here. Here's the thing, and there was a great actor, and I can't think of who said it, but it's I've been watching a lot of these great actors and how they get into their role. And one of the great actors, I think it was De Niro, but I'm not sure. He said, "Once I'm in character, I can't mess up."
Ooh, that's good.
And it's
like what you were saying about that girl. Remember, tell the fly story.
Oh, okay, yeah. But real quick, hold on. So he says, once I'm in character, I can't mess up. And I thought that was fucking brilliant. That was brilliant. Once he's in character, whatever happens at that point is based off his character.
The character's doing it. Yeah.
So I can't mess up, you know. But anyway, so I was watching this.
You want a beer?
Yeah, I do actually. I was watching.
IPA?
Yes.
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 Yes, please. Yes.
Yes. Anyways, so I was watching this. We were at class, right? We were in class and we were doing scene study. So we had these partners. They were doing a scene. I forgot from what it was. I can't even remember, but from what play. But there was a scene, right? It was a man and a woman, and the woman. She's doing this thing where she's upset and she's angry and she's yelling at the guy, right? Then I'm watching this fly. This fly's going around, all around her. She's ignoring it completely. Then it lands right on her fucking cheek.
And what she do?
And I watched it.
How'd she do?
I watched it, and she waited for a good, I would say 1.5, 2 seconds, realistically speaking, yeah. And she just went. Like really slow, like nobody's watching. I'm gonna flick this fly away. While she's having an intense
and
like,
if you're seeing that,
scene.
you're like, okay, this is an actress.
Yeah.
Like it takes you out of it.
And at that moment, it took me out because I wanted her to be angry with the fucking fly. What the fuck? And I got this fucking fly on me. Fuck you and fuck this fly. Use that. But she didn't want to use it because she felt like, oh, this is not part of the scene.
Well, no, she must have rehearsed that scene physically and in her mind over and over again, wanting it to be a certain way, and defining that this way would be the perfect way for it to go, not allowing the scene, not allowing the process to create, to produce something even better than you could have even imagined, right? That's again like, and that happens. I hate to bring it back to writing, but writing's the only thing I know, right? So that can only, my analogies always go back to writing. Yeah, like if I can think that, I'm writing 5 paragraphs and I can see how they go. But in the process of it, it's not going to come out the way I envisioned it. Even if I thought initially it's perfect, and I have to be confident enough that it's going to, like, whatever happens is going to be even better. Like you're saying, once I'm in character, I can't fuck up, right? So once I'm in the groove, whatever I write is great, even if it's not what I expected, right? And you kind of, in writing and in acting, the one thing you have to convey is confidence. They say that about stand-up comedy. We just went to what was the name of the comedy club? The Comedy Cellar at the Rio.
Comedy Cellar. Yeah, that's huge. Holy shit.
It wasn't amazing?
That was amazing.
It was so good. We had great seats and everything. And like, I think the one thing you could notice, and we saw a Colin Quinn thing on Netflix where he was doing, was it on Netflix or something else? He was doing like these, it was during the pandemic. He was doing drive-in comedy. So some of the people were like, I bombed. Some of the people were, all of that, to tie a string through all of that shit, is the audience senses confidence. Yeah. And if you're confident, right, that's why she did this, right? That's why she did it real slow, because she's not confident. She's so afraid of messing up, of anything going this way or that way, that she's like, But a confident fucking actor would have been like, man, fuck that. Like, you know what I mean? And that conveys more than even, I mean, sometimes I don't even hear what people are saying, or I don't even see what they're really doing. I just notice whether they're confident or not, if they're afraid or not, right? And that's what you pick up on, man.
Yeah.
You were on a show. I mean, let's not talk about the show, what the show was on, because I want to get some little dirt on it. But you were talking about how you were in, it was a show, you were in a recent season of a show, and you were on set, and there was these professional actors, and they were kind of uptight, right? They were kind of, well, I mean, what was the vibe?
They were nervous. Yeah, they were nervous.
That's what I'm talking about.
And there was 2 actors. They came out of.
Of course, you're gonna be nervous, but you can't convey nerves, right?
Yeah, and so they came out of their trailer, right? And we had to do a scene, and we did a scene, and one of the guys was supposed to be like a drug dealer or something like that, and I was fucking around with the guy. I said, "Hey, man, are you really a cop or what, bro? Because you're making me nervous. What the fuck?" Like, seriously. And I'm looking at him like that, and he's looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And I'm like, man, you're making me nervous and shit, bro. Like, what? Are you really? I'm like, you got a wire on or what? You know? And he's like, but I was just trying to calm him down, like, just to fuck with him, just to get a reaction.
Yeah.
Get something, because he was making me uptight. Here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing. Whenever, and you know this more than anyone, bro. Whenever you can crack a joke and win a joke, especially one person or a group of people, you got them. That's it. You laughed at my joke, I got you. Now I'm comfortable. Now let me do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I needed that little approval. Hey, you laughed at my joke? Okay, cool. All right, now let me do my thing. Right? Isn't that weird how that works?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but so I have to I might say something that's so fucking off the wall, or do something, or say a joke, and once somebody acknowledges it, this guy's kind of funny,
Yeah.
He's a little off, I like that. Okay, cool.
So I mean, where are you at right now? I mean, you're doing these acting classes. This is Vegas. You're visiting me in Vegas, but you're from Chicago, and you're either at work. And do you want to say where you work, or probably not? Maybe not. I don't know.
Not right now, man.
Not right now. Not at the moment. But you're either at work, which is a rough job, or you're at these acting class, and you got 2 little girls, right? I mean, but you seem happier than you've seemed in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I am, because I'm actually doing what I want to do, right?
Right.
And yeah, I work for the Illinois Department of Corrections. It's a fucked up job. It's hard, and if you let it will definitely change you as a person, man. But anyways,
and I think any job. I mean, if you're a fucking accountant, you can let that change you too.
You're right. You're right about that. You're right.
But then, so you're going to these acting classes.
I'm going to classes. How'd
you find out? So you September. Now we're going back to September, which is really where you started, right? I mean, how did you start?
I started because I think I had a conversation with you before, bro. And you were talking to me about something, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna find some classes. I don't know how that exactly started. The basic, idea got in my mind, but I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna do this right now, right? So I looked up some classes. I found some classes in Chicago. I went down there. I talked to them. I did a couple classes where I can sit in, and then the guy actually was like, he's actually a Vietnam vet, and he knew that I was also a veteran, and he said, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do these classes for free for you. And I was like, man, you don't have to do that, you really don't. And he's like, no, I do, I want to do it, and I've been
but that's like, man, that's like the universe giving you a little shove,
man. And then and then after that, he extended 2 more classes for free, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take them. Why wouldn't I take them for free?
Yeah,
So I'm doing viewpoints, and I'm doing voice and movement, and I just been auditioning for things, man.
What's the site called?
The Backstage. Yeah, Backstage.
Remember Andy's like, isn't that the fucking prostitute?
Oh yeah. He's like, isn't that prostitute? No, Backstage. I've been using that, man, and I just been I've been auditioning. Everything's like virtual now.
Like a virtual audition. So what do? You have to talk. You record a monologue. And send it to them?
You record a monologue. You send it to them. Sometimes they want to set up like a Zoom or Skype or something like that, and then you go read some more lines. That's how I did with this little movie that I finished. I did that. He had a Zoom meeting with me, and we met up, and but yeah, so it's different now. It's different. Everything. Yeah. It's weird because like I feel like I could do so much better in person, right? Because I feel like the camera only gets a certain part of you that you have to be on point, bro. You have to make sure that you're giving them exactly everything that they need in that camera, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like acting, right?
Yeah.
But it's easier when you don't have a camera on you, because then
they can see your whole package, basically. The whole package. I fucking winked at me. No, but it's hard. I mean, the Zoom, I do Zoom podcasts, and it's right now that's what it is. But like, it's fucking rough, man. In person's way better, if that's the dream, is just to do in person, because it's more natural. Like I feel like that's the hard thing about screen acting. I would think is that it's not personal. The editor is going to change your performance. I mean, so what's your dream role right now? What's kind of your dream? I mean, your end dream. What's your immediate goal? I mean, what do you?
Well, I guess my immediate goal would be to join some kind of production that would be a paying job, you know, like a regularly paying job. Because obviously, you know, the to be an actor, man, whoo, you know, you gotta be a lot of things. You have to be a great actor, and you have to be a lot more than that, and that's the truth. And so, for me to be able to act and get paid for that, you know, and I'm not saying I want to be a fucking millionaire. No, just to I'm like fucking just to sustain myself, you know, with that paycheck, would be great, man. That would be like, hey, you know what? You're fucking doing what you love. You're getting paid for it. You're able to pay your bills. That's it. I don't think that's like asking for too much, right?
Yeah.
The ultimate goal would be to be like on Netflix, to be signed.
Oh yeah. I mean, as a writer, my ultimate goal is to write for Netflix.
Netflix, right?
We're gonna get there someday.
I'm gonna get. And you know what?
Fucking
listen.
Man.
We're gonna get there, bro. We really will.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. You have to be so careful, right? This is my little dream. I cradle her. I burp her. I feed her. Right? Take care of her. And I don't trust her with anybody, right? I don't like just telling everybody. Even though we're talking about it on your fucking podcast, I don't just go up to anybody and be like, "Hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing? Hey, I want to be an actor."
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, "What the fuck?" Because it's.
I don't tell people I'm a writer. Right?
You know what I'm? Do you understand what I'm saying though? Why? Why don't you tell people you're a writer?
Because it's
so
close,
personal,
man.
right?
It's so close, and you don't want even a tiny little movement of their face, if it's negative, or you're gonna be like, your dream is so fragile that like you need all the encouragement, and you need to get away from all the discouragement that you can possibly avoid, and so you can't have some people, you know, something like that. You're like.
Yeah.
Because you're barely holding on to your dream yourself, man. You're barely holding on to your dream yourself. And so it's like, no, don't make that face, motherfucker. Like, I might quit too, motherfucker.
Yeah, bro. Hey, you know what? That's well said, man. I like that. Because that's the truth, bro. That's the truth. People look at me like, dude, you're fucking crazy. You're crazy. Like, that. First of all, that dream to be an actor is huge, man. It's fucking huge, right? And for you to actually...
And people probably think, let's not get twisted. People probably think when you're saying I want to be an actor, they think you want to be rich and famous, which is not it, right? It's not it.
That is not it.
Yeah.
But so they look at that and they're like, that's a huge dream. This guy, is he really think... You know, this is what happens, right? Hey, I want to be an actor. Oh, that's nice. That's cool. Internally, the fuck? Is this guy serious? Like, does he understand how hard?
Poor fuck, man.
Poor guy. You know what? I'm going to see if I could leave him $5 or something. Because no, but honestly, you know,
what's your Venmo, man?
Yeah, it's crazy, and I love it. Yeah. I love being fucking crazy and having this dream.
For sure, man.
Because I'm excited about it, and it fucking gets me going, bro. It gets me. It makes me.
That's how I used to be. I used to be real defensive. It used to be like, you know, people would say, you know, I want to be a writer, and people would be like, and I think in my fucking inside, you know, I'm like, what the fuck do you do? What do you do? You're a fucking accountant, or you're a fucking. You fucking sell cars. You know, everybody's job sucks. Especially you're not following your dream, your job sucks. So, hey, at least I'm fucking chasing what I like to do, right? Like, and you know.
And here's the thing too. Some of the people that I go to school with, you know, the acting classes and stuff like that. They ask me all the time, hey, why are you here? Why are you taking these classes? I'm like, because I want to be an actor. What about you? Oh, this helps me, like, you know, be able to talk at work and open up. And I'm like, oh, okay. I want to be an actor, man.
Or
and they look at me like, this guy, motherfucking.
Well, you also told me that you are running into a lot of models who want to be actors.
Yeah, well, we got a lot of models as well, and they apparently they have more work as actors than models, so they're like, oh, I have to know how to act, you know, and
that's the thing you know, part of what I mean, I guess it was always that way, but like, yeah, a lot of it is like they just pick the hottest person who can say the lines.
Yeah. You know what? That's funny because the director told me this too. He said, Yeah, screen acting is modeling with words. I'm like, that's so fucked up, man.
But you're a good-looking dude, though. That's what That's the other thing you got to go for.
Right. But yeah, I'm.
But you're also a good actor. You know what I mean? So I feel like, Al Pacino's not the best-looking dude, but I feel like his acting also makes him good-looking. Same thing with Robert De Niro, right? And I feel like you have, same thing with Marlon Brando, all these people, right? But there's people who are just really good looking and they're not good actors. And it's like, I would not be watching this movie if this girl was not in it or if this guy was not in it. Like, well, I don't think like that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people watch just, you just want to be staring at the screen like, you're not watching the acting, you're just, it's something. And then now, like, especially the sitcoms or there's TV shows, like they live in a nice house, they drive nice cars, they have a nice job. Like, it can't be relatable to most people, right? It's not like.
I wouldn't say, yeah. But you know what? It's like the same concept of, like, remember what I was telling you about when you're at a job interview, right? And the person who's interviewing you is really, really looking at the way you speak, right? The way you
carry yourself,
gestures, the way you carry yourself, right? There's it's somewhere, you got to look this up after this because I don't want to sound like a dumbass. It's like 50 to 60%. That's what they're focused on. The rest is like your credentials.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. That's fucking ridiculous. Like, what the hell?
You were saying this other thing that I don't think you've said it on here, but we've been talking about this for a while, and like you for the past few days, and you said something about how, when you go in for an audition, what do you tell yourself?
I go into an audition and I just tell myself I got the part already, and they want to see how I perform it. This is why they called me. They're like, hey, Chris, we want to see how you perform this. Okay, cool. This is how I'm going to do it. Because what's the point, right, of getting so nervous and saying, oh, shit, how do they want me to do this? What's the point? There's no point. They're either going to like you or they're not.
Yeah.
So the confidence of you saying, hey, I got the part, this is like, that's what I say in my mind. I got the part already. Is this how you want me to do it? Okay. And they're either going to like it or they're not. And it's okay. You keep going on to the nenext one. Right?
That's where I'm at, like with writing. Like, I used to, when somebody didn't like something or this line or there's a typo, I still if I find a typo in an article that's 5 years old, I'll go in there and change it because it's there. It's right. It exists. I don't care if 1,000 people have read it. I want the 1,001st person to read the better version. You know what I mean? But now I'm at a point where, like, I think I write well. Like, I'm a good writer. And so, like, I just write and I have fun and I do, what I do. And, like, I just tell myself, people are just going to like it or they're not going to like it. If they don't like it, it's not for them. It's not their cup of tea. It's not like if somebody doesn't like it, doesn't mean, which I used to do, doesn't mean, oh, it's not good. It's not for them. They don't like it. They don't get it, whatever. But it's not like, if somebody doesn't like something, it doesn't hurt my feelings anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is so important. Again, it comes to confidence, right? It comes back to confidence, and confidence is everything. And I think, being, me, right? I'm not really into identity politics, but like I know about them. And the one thing you can say is that being Latino, underprivileged, working class, it's hard to have confidence. And so in that way, we're behind the eight ball in a lot of ways. We're behind the eight ball psychologically, socioeconomically. They're looking for white actors, all kinds of stuff, right? And so, anybody chasing their dreams, man, I'm excited for you as my brother because I know what it is to chase your dreams, and how I'm also afraid for you, right?
Yeah.
I'm afraid for you because I know that it's there's nothing more depressing than chasing your dreams, right? There's nothing more rewarding than chasing your dreams. And there's nothing more depressing than chasing your dreams, right? If you want to avoid being extremely happy and extremely sad, don't chase your dreams, right? Just get a normal job and you'll be even keel your rest of your life, but you won't feel anything. But it's the only way to fucking live, man, right? It's life is short. And if you have any bit of talent, if you have anything that you want to express, you got to express it. And I'm very jealous of you that you're an actor, man, because acting is visually what music is auditorially, just hearing wise, right? Music is the best art for your ears, let's say, but acting is the best for visual, right? That's why actors and musicians in society are up here, bro. They've been that way since ancient Greece, and it'll always be that way.
You know what though? It's funny though. I think it's such an interesting dynamic between the writer and the actor. The writer and the actor.
That's why we're excited to one day get into our own thing. I write them, and you perform them.
You have to, because I was taught that an actor who doesn't change his lines, who sticks exactly to his lines, is doing it because the writing on that is perfect, right? The writing on that really portrays what the actor is trying to say.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have lines on a paper that they're so. There's no connection, and it's hard to portray that, right? It's hard.
Do you know if Shakespeare? I know he had a company. Was it the same actors in the company? It must have been, right? Yeah, acting wasn't a big profession back then.
I'm pretty sure it was.
So when he's writing these plays, he must be writing the specific roles for specific people that he knew in his company. Like, this is good for Greg, that's good for Bob. Mary's gonna play this. Although it was all men, right, in the beginning, all men, or was that the Greeks? That was just the Greeks, right?
No, I think it was Shakespeare too.
I think it was Shakespeare too. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. Yeah.
Man, it's fascinating. It's so, it's so fucked up. It's so fascinating. The fact that my passion is acting and your passion is writing, and we're brothers. Yeah. You can't make that up, bro. You can't make that. You're passionate. What your passion is your you can't. Like, if I'm passionate about something, I can't make you be passionate about it.
Yeah.
Hey man, this is why I want you to. You can't. You have this passion for it or you don't, right?
Yeah.
And
there's no way getting away from it. Like I told you, like I try to, we moved to Vegas, and our life came up a little bit better, and I thought,
hold on, let me stop him, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, do you want me to get into this?
We live good. We live pretty good.
They live. You know what? I'm just gonna say this. They live really good, and they're the most humble people and respectful, and my brother. So what my brother did right before this. This guy, he was at a bank. I guess he was trying to get money out, but the bank was closed. He had his debit card. He was Amazon. He was an Amazon worker. Yeah. He left, and he was asking people for money. My brother opened his wallet and gave him some money. And the guy's like, "Hey, let me get your phone number."
Yeah, he wanted to get my number because he's like, "I'm not like that, man." Yeah. And I gave him 10. I only had $10 in my, I would have gave him 20, but that's what I had. But he's an Amazon worker, and this is, I told him, you're essential, bro. Like, how many Amazon packages have come to this fucking house? Yeah. Like,
But here's the thing: I stayed in the car when my brother was out, and I saw that he went up to two other people, and asked the same thing, and nobody gave him shit. And my brother's like, "Yeah, no, here, I got this."
No, I remember being at Union Station in Chicago, and begging people. All I had was money for the train ticket home. Mm-hmm. And so I would tell people I hadn't eaten all day. I was at DePaul. I hadn't eaten all day. It's 4:30 now in the afternoon. I had a full day of class. I'm going back home. I haven't eaten all day. And I would say, I need a quarter. I need to call my mom or whatever. This is back in the payphone days. I need a quarter. I just need one more quarter to make a call. And I'll do that for four times. If I can get 4 people to give me a quarter or $1. If they gave me $1, great. Because then I'd go get an apple pie, which was $1. But I remember the looks people would give me, right? Like, "Oh, you piece of shit," or "No, I'm not gonna give you." No, but most people just fucking look at you like you're a piece of shit, right? And so, I don't know. I just never looked down on people who ask for money because, like, yeah, they could be whatever. First of all, this guy was in an Amazon truck wearing an Amazon thing, and here he is asking for people to take. He must have been working all day, and he's just looking for money for fucking lunch, man. Like,
he's hungry, yeah.
And
that's what we're supposed to do as human beings, bro. We're supposed to help each other out if we can, like
if you can, right?
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough that I can help people out, man. And if you can help somebody out, I mean, it's there's nothing even to think about, right? If somebody asks you for something, and you have money in your pocket, and you know that they're hungry, I mean, what was I going to spend that $10 on that was not going to be? That was going to give me as much pleasure or satisfaction as him hungry all day. He's going to go and buy something to eat, man. He must have felt great. Like, you have to put you have to put that good fucking juju out there, man. You know, and like, and that's how you change the world too, right? Because like he was a white guy with gauges in his ears and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And maybe he thought I was gonna be an asshole too, right?
Yeah.
And now he's maybe at least changes whatever he thought about people who looked like him before. Now his perception has changed at least a little bit,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
And that's all you got to. That's how you change the world, man. You just be decent to people, even when you don't want to, even when you can't afford to. Blah blah blah. That's when it counts, man. And so yeah, I mean, thanks, for bringing that up. But I'm not fucking advertising here, but
no, bro. That's something that you didn't even think twice to do. Like that was just natural to you. So I looked at you and I was like, wow, that takes a lot, man. Because, like I said, I was in the car, so I saw two people were like, nah. They're looking at the guy like, come on, what the fuck you doing? The guy he was just hungry. The dude just wanted something to eat, and then that was really nice of you, man.
But anyways, let's get out of here, get some sushi. Yeah. Thank you for coming on. And I mean, you're not on social media. Do you think about like, I have to, as an actor, you got to be on social media, but my brother's not a social media type. He's not any of that. He's just,
you know what? I'll say
you're old school.
Let me say this. I have a couple things, little tricks up my sleeves, and if some of them come through, then I'll go on social media, because I would want to advertise certain things, and I want people to be aware of certain things. So, but right now, I'm you know how I am, man.
But if there's a casting agent out there, somebody, I mean, how do they get a hold of you?
No. Actually, the dude that I just filmed the movie with, I told you what he said, right? He's gonna pay for an agent for me for a year, because he said that he feels that I have a lot of potential in this industry, and he's like, man, I would hate for you not to do anything, so I'm gonna pay for it for a year. I'm like, dude, you don't have to do that, really. He's like, I know I don't.
I'm just listening. I'm paying attention to your face. You have a good face, good tone of your voice, everything. Like I mean, that's why I wanted to bring you on this podcast and have this. I wanted people to get a look at you and like, hey, this is a guy who wants to be an actor. Like how many? Everybody's talking about there's not enough Latino actors, not a lot of Latino actors. Well, here you go, motherfucker. Here's a Latino actor, and he's fucking great, classically trained. Right? I'm like, what else do you fucking want?
You know what? I think the most important part at the end of the day, really, is how well can you deliver a message, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? How well can you tell a story? How well can you deliver this message and really hold true to it, right?
Yeah.
That's it, man. That's it. And it's funny because me and you grew up with storytelling being a huge part of our culture,
man.
Our family, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to do. I want to be able to entertain people, tell stories. And
me too, in the same way. Like, it's funny that I think that's what you're saying, right? It's funny that you're an actor, I'm a writer. We just want to tell stories, and we're doing about it the best way we know how, right?
The best way, yeah.
Because I wish I can act, right? And but yeah, thank you for coming on, man.
Always a pleasure, bro. Thank you so much.
And
man.
if you want to reach him, I guess reach out to me. But
if you want to reach me, can I give him my email or
just say your email.
Yeah, just if you ever want to reach out and have any questions or anything or any advice too, man, because I'm still learning, you can reach me at my email. It's my first name Christopher_Alamo@yahoo.com.
Thank you very much, man. Let's go get some sushi, bro.